I ain't scared of shit, and you gonna find that out. As you seen, the last press conference.
We'll see.
When I walked you down, when you supposed to be the bigger man.
Yeah, hey, you say that because you're fighting with nobody, and you obviously look like you're a great fighter. But you find out September 13th, this is gonna be different for you.
And it's gonna be different from you as well.
Question for Canelo.
The last fighters that you fought, they ain't on my level. And
I fought everybody.
The last fighters you fought since 2002.
Mention me one. You mention me one elite fighter. Just one.
You.
Oh, me.
Look,
it's gonna be me.
I don't care about nobody else.
And you will see that.
You. So when I beat you, is you gonna be a nobody? When I stuff a mud hole in your ass, you gonna be a nobody. You gonna be just like everybody else. Watch. Watch. Same shit that everybody else been saying since I moved to 147. I ain't fought nobody. Every last one of them stump a mud hole in their ass, and he gonna be next. Watch.
Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford is likely to be one of the biggest fights in the history of boxing, but their last press conference was a mess.
I respect everybody, but if you f with me, so it's gonna be different.
Terence, is that true? Did Turkey Al Sheikh ask you to spice things up?
Turkey didn't ask me to do nothing. I didn't touch him.
You know.
Listen.
Hey, we know, buddy. We know.
First and foremost, somebody was in the room saying that I was scared of them. So I stepped to him and showed him who was the boss of this fight.
On the other hand, Floyd Mayweather fought back against Canelo Alvarez. He was honest about the Mexican star and said that Mayweather has always been free to choose his opponents. Mayweather ignored Canelo's tremendous plaudits, claiming that the fight was easy for him and that he crushed Canelo despite being nearly 40 years old at the time. He scolded the boxing community for always putting down other boxers while praising Canelo. He said the fight wasn't even close and Canelo was never the task that people made him out to be.
You could take a guy like Canelo, this guy can do, he can pick and choose who he want to fight. And I'm gonna tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Easy, man. Easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude. Easy. Y'all always disrespecting our fighters.
Brian Bomack McIntyre, Crawford's experienced manager, also talked about the fight. He thought that the first few rounds would be close, until Terence Crawford made his usual changes in the middle of a fight. He was sure that Crawford would finally take control and win the fight, just like in previous fights. McIntyre didn't say what strategies he was going to use, but he did say that he thought Crawford would take charge in the last few minutes and finish strong.
It's gonna play out, man. You know, like I always say, it's gonna be a tough few rounds, you know, until Terence makes his adjustments, and then, like he does every fight, he's gonna take it over and run away with it.
How does that look like?
Well, you know, I ain't gonna put it out there like that, but I just looking for Terence to dominate. I know going through the home stretch.
However, the most recent Canelo versus Crawford news conference was heated, with both fighters yelling insults at each other and refusing to back down. There were 10 stare-downs and a lot of delays.
I ain't scared of shit, and you gonna find that out. As you seen, the last press conference.
We'll see.
When I walked you down, when you supposed to be the bigger man.
Yeah, hey, you say that because you're fighting with nobody, and you obviously look like you're a great fighter. But you find out September 13th, this is gonna be different for you.
And it's gonna be different from you as well.
Question for Canelo.
The last fighters that you fought, they ain't on my level. And
I fought everybody.
The last fighters you fought since 2002.
Mention me one. You mention me one elite fighter. Just one.
You.
Oh, me.
Look,
it's gonna be me.
I don't care about nobody else.
And you will see that.
You. So when I beat you, is you gonna be a nobody? When I step a mud hole in your ass, you're gonna be a nobody. You're gonna be just like everybody else. Watch. Watch. Same shit that everybody else been saying since I moved to 147, I ain't fought nobody. Every last one of them stump a mud hole in their ass and he gonna be next. Watch.
Antonio Tarver was very excited about the upcoming fight and said that he had been telling people for a long time about Terence Crawford's unique energy. He sees Crawford as a big threat, the type of competitor who exudes an intensity that others cannot match. Tarver questioned whether Canelo Alvarez still has the desire to dig deep, especially because his footwork has deteriorated and he hasn't faced a true test in a while. He stressed that Canelo would have to push himself to the edge against someone as dangerous and hungry as Crawford.
I gotta ask you, Canelo Crawford, who you got? Come on, bro. I've been telling y'all for the longest. That boy got that energy. And you know what energy I'm talking about. What is that? Tarver energy. Bro.
Yes, sir.
Tarver. He got that. And so you know, when you get that, we don't see nobody, bro. Now he in there with a dog, Canelo. Now, the Canelo footwork ain't been what it's supposed to be lately. And he hasn't fought a real threat in a long time. Right. Now, sometimes we can get so comfortable in that zone. But now you gotta go down deep to get ready for Crawford. Crawford, you feel me? He gotta go deep. Now, we don't know. Does Canelo still have that in him? We gonna see. We gonna see.
Coach Calvin Ford shared his enthusiasm for the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford battle, adding he is thrilled for both competitors. He mentioned that it had been a while since Crawford met another big name and lauded Canelo as one of the best. Ford stressed the importance of this fight in the boxing world, calling it a watershed moment for both athletes. He thinks that this meeting provides fans with something substantial to talk about, and that both men require each other at this stage of their careers to produce a landmark moment in the sport.
Both fighters, you know, Crawford getting another serious young African-American fighting him. You know, it's been a while, you know what I'm saying? And this guy, he's alive. Canelo is the GOAT, and it's good for Terence Crawford to see that guy, you know what I'm saying? And it's good for Canelo to see him. You know, it gives something for the boxing world to talk about, and everybody looking forward to it.
When asked how he would prepare Crawford for a fight against boxing's biggest star, Ford stated he wouldn't change anything. He added that Crawford has been dominant, especially in his deconstruction of Errol Spence Jr., a match that many believed to be a battle, but turned out to be one-sided. Ford compared that moment to the intensity of Hagler versus Hearns, but with a surprising result. He thinks that if both Canelo and Crawford perform at their peak, fans may finally get the epic battle they've been waiting for.
Why would I change up what he's been doing? He's been winning. He's been getting the job done. You know, when he shut down Earl, that was perfect. It ain't like he ain't been in no big fight. That was a fight everybody thought they was gonna get a roller coaster, and it went turns.
That was like Hagler Hearns. You thought you didn't know what was gonna happen.
We didn't get that.
And he dominated.
We didn't get that fight that we thought we was gonna get.
Yeah.
And then seeing Canelo and him do it, everybody said, "Man, we might get the fight that we're gonna get."
Max Kellerman expressed his thoughts on the magnitude of the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight, ranking it among the top boxing events he's ever witnessed, having previously called legendary bouts involving Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, and the epic clash between Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko. Kellerman thinks this matchup has the potential to be the best of all. He underlined that, while previous fights had been big, this one may hit number one on his list owing to its sheer size and timeliness.
Where would you rank this fight out of your top 3 to 5 of all the boxing fights you've called, you've experienced, you've watched?
In terms of the magnitude of the
magnitude,
fight?
Yeah.
I mean, of the fights that I've called ringside, it might turn out to be number one. I've done Pacquiao fights, I've done Mayweather fights, I've done Anthony Joshua against Klitschko. Those are big fights, but
he stated that with Netflix involved, this might be the most watched title bout in nearly half a century. Kellerman noted how Muhammad Ali's 1978 rematch against Leon Spinks drew 90 million television viewers, a record that has yet to be broken. While past pay-per-view fights, such as Mayweather against Pacquiao, drew millions, Kellerman noted that the scope of streaming might result in considerably more viewers. If viewership per household stays consistent, this battle has the potential to attract significantly more people than boxing has seen in the contemporary age. From a commercial sense, he was sure that it would be the largest boxing event he had ever covered.
This will, listen, because of Netflix, this will be the most watched fight, championship fight, in almost 50 years. This is going to be because Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks in the rematch in '78, and they did 90 million TV sets. 90 million. And since then, what has even come close? The biggest fights have all been on pay-per-view, and they do 2 million buys. Oh my God, 4 million buys, Mayweather Pacquiao. As I keep saying, if 5 people per TV set watch, that's 20 million people. This is going to do multiples of that. So when you look at it from like a commercial point of view, it'll easily be the biggest boxing event I've ever covered.
Jim Lampley discussed Terence Crawford's chances versus Canelo Alvarez, stating a meeting with Larry Merchant when asked if Crawford might win. Merchant reacted confidently, stressing that skilled movement, precise timing, and clever techniques can overcome size discrepancies. He underlined that if Crawford uses footwork, keeps outside the center line, and takes clean strikes, while avoiding heavy exchanges, he has a real chance of winning. The idea, he added, is to move in and out, mix up hits, and never become a stationary target.
I asked the great Larry Merchant very recently. I said, is there any way in your mind that Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez? And Larry said to me, Jim, did Ray Leonard get a decision win over Marvin Hagler? I said, yes, he did. He said, well, if Ray Leonard could have gotten a decision win over Marvelous Marvin Hagler, then yes, absolutely, Terence Crawford has a chance to beat Canelo Alvarez because it's the same thing. It's the same size difference to a certain degree. It's a very similar style difference, and there's a blueprint there. If Crawford looks at what Leonard did, get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, land to the body, get out, get in, land upstairs, get out, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up, and always the footwork, never standing in the same place. If Crawford has the energy to do that, there's a chance.
Lampley said that, while Canelo has one of the best chins in boxing, Crawford does not require a knockout to win. He feels Crawford can win the fight on points by continuing to a disciplined strategy, managing distance, and sustaining energy throughout the fight, despite the major difficulty. Lampley made it apparent that with the proper changes and focus, Crawford has a legitimate shot to outbox and outmaneuver Canelo throughout 12 rounds. Dan Rafael expressed reservations about the notion that Canelo Alvarez's poor performance against William Skull was simply the product of a difficult opponent. In his opinion, the underlying issue resides in the long-term consequences of Canelo's prolonged career, which began when he was still a teenager. Rafael emphasized that it is not simply the number of bouts that is important, but the sheer volume of time spent in the ring that eventually wears down even great athletes.
I just can't get over how bad he was against Skull. I'm not convinced that it was just a bad style. I think that he's just to the point after, all these years being a professional since he's 15, 16 years old, that takes a toll, man. It's all the sparring, it's all the fights, it's the wear and tear on your body. And I have made this point before. To me, it's not so much about the number of fights, it's how many rounds do you have? Here's the harsh reality. Canelo Alvarez has literally double the number of pro rounds that Terence Crawford does, even though Canelo is younger than
He pointed out that Canelo has fought over 500 rounds as a professional, which is more than twice as many as Terence Crawford has faced in his career. That significant discrepancy demonstrates how much pain Canelo has taken despite constantly fighting top-tier competition ranging from competent veterans to durable contenders. The ongoing skirmishes have taken a major toll on his body. Rafael believes that Canelo's accumulated mileage will play a major impact in how he performs against someone as fresh and sharp as Crawford.
He's 500-something rounds as a professional now, Canelo. Crawford hasn't even hit 300 rounds as a professional. That's a big difference.
That's another factor then we can look into this fight. There's so many factors to it, like you say, Dan. Now, you did touch on it before.
It's 520 rounds for Canelo Alvarez as a professional. and it's 245 rounds as a professional for Terrence Crawford. That's a dramatic difference. Think about the wear and tear you might take in an extra 200 plus rounds. And it's not like Canelo's fighting guys who can't fight. He's fighting top level, world championship level fighters, one after the other after the other. If you looked at a guy like William Skull or John Ryder or somebody like that and say that was like his so-called worst opponent over the last several years, that's still pretty solid. Those are still real guys.
Michael Buffer predicted a fiercely contested and interesting fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terrence Crawford, with a focus on talent rather than pure strength. When asked about UFC President Dana White promoting the fight, Buffer praised him as one of the best promoters in sports history. He stated that White would bring new vitality to boxing and understand how to handle major events, despite past criticism from figures such as Oscar de la Hoya. Buffer made it clear that he wholeheartedly supports Dana White's choice to enter the boxing world.
It's not a big fight unless you're announcing it. Canelo versus Crawford. How do you see that one going?
I think it's going to be a close and interesting fight.
Right.
I think it's going to be a technical fight, not a power fight.
Now, what do you think about Dana White promoting it? Do you think
he's only proven himself to be one of the greatest promoters in the history of sports?
So he's good, pretty good deal. He's good for boxing.
Oh yeah, he'll know what to do.
Because some people like De La Hoya have been a little critical of him, but he has the Michael Buffer approval, obviously. For sure. You're the man. Thank you.
Terrence Crawford normally engages in punching exchanges, according to John Tettelt, and when he is tagged, it is usually with a straight right hand. This punch appears to be a typical strategy against him, most likely because, as a southpaw who is not naturally left-handed, his stance offers an obvious opening despite his susceptibility. Crawford's toughness, agility, and quick feet help him to manage or prevent catastrophic injuries. He saw that Crawford frequently absorbs blows in a premeditated way, similar to how Sugar Ray Leonard used to do, inviting shots to generate possibilities for counters. Crawford will give his opponent a little opening before immediately moving out of range and firing back with precision. This strategy places him not only as a polished craftsman, but also as a gritty, strategic warrior who thrives under duress.
Doing some homework on Terrence Bud Crawford. I was going to put together video clips of how Terrence Bud Crawford loves to trade. So while I was trying to put that together, I noticed that when he is getting hit in the exchange, it's usually by a straight right. So much so that I've noticed that his ops plan to land a straight right. These fighters literally study Crawford and plan on throwing a straight right because he's a southpaw and he's not a natural southpaw. So they actually plan for it. It's just that Terrence Crawford is so damn durable and good and athletic that even when they're landing it, he's okay. And a lot of times he kind of make them miss, or he'll give them his face like Sugar Ray Leonard, love him to death, and he'll step back and go bang because his feet are so good. That's why I said he's a fighter. Crawford is more of a fighter than a slick boxer.
Jiren Butsanis is also leaning toward Canelo Alvarez in a prospective bout, noting that Canelo has beaten larger adversaries despite the fact that 168 is not his natural weight class, and that some of Canelo's opponents likely weigh close to 200 pounds on fight night, but he still handles them with ease. He sees the fight as a great affair that fans are anticipating. Ennis also suggested that Terrence Crawford start with a warm-up bout at 160 pounds to adjust to the size difference, improve strength, and keep sharpness without a long break.
But I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been putting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe, and he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So, I don't know. It's gonna be a great fight. The fans want to see it. So, so be it. I think Crawford should take a warm-up fight. At like 60, or like at least at 60, just to get his body, the feeling of somebody a little bit bigger, and things like that. I know when you go up a weight, you gotta, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavier and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now. But I think he should, just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything like that.
Shannon Briggs, on the other hand, passionately supported Terence Crawford in a potential battle versus Canelo Alvarez, stating that Crawford would definitely win. He talked about Crawford all day and even expected a knockout. Although Briggs does not usually gamble, he stated that he will this time because he is confident. He claimed multiple times that Crawford would halt Canelo and end the fight via knockout. Martin also mentioned that he does not have an official pick but supports Crawford. He stated that Crawford has more tools and can change in the ring, whether moving on his feet or at close range. While praising Canelo as a tremendous fighter, Martin regarded him as having a more limited style that depended mostly on pressure, fluid head movement, and counterpunching. He feels Crawford's quickness and agility will allow him to outbox Canelo Alvarez.
Crawford, who you got, champ?
I don't have a pick. I feel like I'm a root for Crawford, and so I just feel like Crawford is more multi-dimensional. He can do more things in the ring. You know, he can get on his toes if he really needs to, and then he can also bang in the pocket, obviously. And I feel like Canelo's a great, but I feel like he's more one-dimensional. He's just gonna put that pressure, you know, slick head movement, try to come with them counters. But I just feel like Crawford gonna have the speed advantage, and he gonna probably just outbox Canelo. But I don't have no pick right now, but I'm rooting for Crawford.
That ends today's video. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on their fight? Please share your ideas in the comments box, and if you liked the video, subscribe and like it. Also, take a look at our other videos on the screen right.